Luis Enrique has left his position as the Spain manager, which is strange to think that they started off the tournament so strongly with a 7-0 victory, 7 goals. Turned out to be their only victory of the entire tournament. They got the draw against Germany, the loss against Japan, and then they crashed out against Morocco. So, Glenn, what's your take on this? The right decision?
Seems a bit quick to me, because, you know, leading up to the tournament, before the World Cup started, they went on a decent run, only really losing to France on the way into the World Cup. And then, like you say, they look like their sides on the right side of the age, you know, mixture between youth and age and experience, and they come out the traps flying. So the draw with Germany, you know, that's you know, Germany weren't the Germany of old, but it's still a respectful result. And I guess it was the last game in the group that really let them down, but obviously we know what happened with the goal, that whether it should have been or shouldn't have been. So, you know, they should have been better in that game to sort of not allow that sort of decision to finalise the game. You know, they should have been more powerful than that. But maybe sometimes that sort of start gives you the wrong sort of confidence, thinking that the next few games might be easy and that they're going to roll into the tournament and go deep. So you don't know. You can only think that the board are maybe planning already. You know, they're probably expected to go deep in the tournament at the beginning. And now they haven't. They're probably thinking, well, let's just start building for the next 2 years now.
I think the problem, and Martin will got more experience than me in this, it depends on everything. Results are the consequence, but I follow a lot what is going on in Spain, and Luis Enrique has been doing too many things apart from the football part. And you know, when you speak to the press and you got problem with the press, then when you start doing the streamer, Twitch and whatever, and then when you start making decisions that they are strong decisions, and if you win, they are good decisions, but if you don't, unfortunately, if they are not, then he even said that at the end that the team players, you know, he wants you to play the team, you know, to make 1,000 passes without shooting. So I think if you put everything together, I think it was coming in a certain way in Spain. Now, it's a character. I play against him. He was a character on the pitch. He was a difficult player to play against. It was always a little bit of friction with him. Still the same character. It's not going to change now. But I think it was arranged. It was not like a sacking, because the under-21 coach was ready. No, it was like 45 minutes. It was not something new for Spain.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that he's gone, really, because, yeah, I agree with Gus. He's made something. He's talked about passing and passing and passing, and in all honesty, Spain could have passed from here to midnight, really, and not really gone anywhere. It sounds crazy to say when they score 7 goals, but when you look at some of the players they have, really, you wouldn't. Morata scored a couple of goals, and I wouldn't rely on him, you know, leading the line for a full 90 minutes of a game and thinking he's my main man. I'd be concerned about that. Gus mentions there's some Busquets, obviously veteran now, some young players coming through. I wouldn't mind seeing it through to the next tournament. Right, he's a ratty character. I think there's something good about that. He's had a couple of goals at the press guys who were asking him certain questions about, is this inexperience? And he says, well, what are you talking about inexperience? Is this inexperience if I'm a carpenter and I've never done any of that there before? Yes, that's inexperience, but these lads have played. They can still play. They played at a very decent level, these lads. So stepping into international football shouldn't be as big a jump as you're really talking about. But overall, I'm actually disappointed. I like the coach. I like him a lot. I think he's got a wee bit of something about himself, you know. But Gus does make a very, very good point. Eventually, if you argue enough with the press and don't get the results, you might find yourself in a bit of trouble, you know. I know that from personal experience.
Well,
right,
never mind.
Not me, Martin.
No.
Never a problem.
No, I really meant myself, Gus.
How do you handle that? Some of the comments as a manager?
I think yes. What you get from press guys is boys who feel as if they actually know, not only do they know the answer, but they actually think that they know what your answer is going to be. And when it doesn't come out like that then they can turn it and twist it. Eventually, you know what, you live or die by results. That's a manager's job, whether it's at club level, whether it's international level. I didn't think the results were too bad. Eventually, it's easy for me to say this in hindsight, but the Morocco game was going to be really difficult for them. Difficult because I'd never seen the side really up for the game, you know, ready to go, plenty of strength, plenty of energy about them as well too. And you felt as if the Spain might not break them down. And then you go into the dreaded penalties. Dreaded in the sense that if you're favourites to win the game, you don't want to have penalty kicks. If you're not favourites, you'll see this one through to the end, and then they've lost that game. But Gus might be right again about saying about, he might have left of his own accord. He might have said, well, listen, I've had enough. If that's the case, that's fine. If they have decided to dispense with the services, I'm disappointed.